Hi, Tara. How are you doing today?
Terrific. Yeah, thanks for making time for a call.
Yeah, it's been a while since we last chatted. We talked last year during PDAG. A lot has happened since then. Maybe you could just refresh the bit of memories of some of our audience about what Banyan Gold is.
Sure. Well, we're in the Yukon of Canada in what's this new discovery and mining belt called the Tombstone Mining Belt. And we have a 7 million ounce on surface, potentially open pit mineable resource. And we just put that out here. In addition to that, we put out our phase one metallurgical results showing that there are three very conventional mining techniques which have high recoveries for this deposit, with the two leaders being CIP/CIL at 91% and heap leaching right in the range of Victoria Gold from 64 to 72. But first phase, we know we can continue to optimize all of these processes. So, we're in a great jurisdiction. And I think we could argue that this is an emerging camp where, how these camps grow in Canada, whether they're the Golden Triangle or Red Lake, you have some discoveries, you get a mine built, and then, real interest starts to come to the district.
Wait, so let's talk about more about this recent update on the resource. You talk about 7 million ounces. I mean, can you share with us more details about it so people can understand better about this how significant this update is?
Sure. So the cutoff grade is 0.3, which is a very typical cutoff grade for this scale of resource. And then the overall grade is 0.63. And that's very comparable to what Victoria Gold has down the road. If you kind of look at average mines that go into production, the grade recently has been 0.75 on average. And if you look at cutoff grades, and there's a full sensitivity table in our resource update news release, as well as a couple different cutoffs in the 3D model on our website, which is really interesting because if you look at 0.6, there's 4 million ounces at a gram. If you look at 0.9, there's 2.5 million ounces at 1.5. So, that's part of the next phase of this resource, and this is still an inferred resource, is to start to drill off the areas where you'd mine first, where you have that higher grade. And I think that's one of the opportunities that Banyan has, both for explorations, both growing the resource as well as demonstrating the higher grade areas. That'll be an important part of the NPV.
Sure. So is that what you're planning to do and for the remaining of years, or what's your planning now in 2024 in terms of your development plan for this project?
So we have a strong treasury right now, $7 million, plus we have some income coming in. We just put out this resource in the block model and the metallurgy, and we've been doing some high-level kind of scoping studies with some engineering to kind of look at where you'd mine first, because an inferred pit is not necessarily where you'd mine. And we're running a bunch of different exploration scenarios, trying to think how do we increase our odds of success of this for the money we have. And we're talking to our big shareholders about what they'd like to see, getting a bit of a market sentiment. And then we'll decide in a month or two exactly what we're going to do. But, we plan to do a program which adds the most value in the context of this market for our shareholders, and we're funded for that. So stay tuned. We don't have all those answers quite yet, but, we're all, I'm a big shareholder. I care about the equity. So, I want to make sure that what we deliver is really going to be well received and add value to the project and for our shareholders.
Sure. Let's talk a bit more about the jurisdiction, the area of play here, because
Yeah.
I know that your company or yourself has been of course, advocate for mining exploration in Yukon, be promoting it for a number of years, and now recently, of course, you're getting quite an interest on the Tombstone belt. Can you talk about this whole thing, how the sentiments have changed over the years on Yukon, and how's the recent interest on the belt, how that's coming along?
Well, there's been over like the last 10 years, there's been quite a few big discoveries in the Yukon. And then most recently, really since our discovery in 2019 and Snowline's discovery in 2021, we've had these intrusion related discoveries, along with Victoria Gold actually developing a mine in one and showing that in the modern day, you can permit and develop a mine. And actually, right beside us, we have two operating mines that have been recently permitted. And I think that's a really important context in the sentiment and what people are looking for. This is a safe jurisdiction. And you see some of the other jurisdictions where there's certainly issues about mineral title, there's security concerns. That's of concern when you're making a major investment that you're putting it in a safe jurisdiction, that you're putting it in a jurisdiction where you can actually permit a mine. And that's something that we've seen right beside us, and there's a known process. And yeah, it's not super fast, but it is a process where there's a clear blueprint of what you need to do to get through it. So I think those things are making more people look at the Yukon, along with just this discovery potential. Here we are, things being discovered in the last 5 years that are really significant scale, generational type deposits. So, I think there's going to be more, and these districts are growing, right? You get one mine built and discoveries around it. And if you drew a circle around us right now with 25 kilometers, we would have 18 million gold equivalent ounces in resources, not just the discovery potential. And that's getting really close to that 20 million ounce, critical mass where people go, wow, that's a district.
District scale. Yes, let's in summary we would to talk about how the gold price go, because last year we see the surge of the gold price at the end of the year. Seems like a positive environment here for gold, but the gold equities hasn't been able to catch up. Banyan Gold is one of those gold companies that's not caught up to the trend. So what do you think of why is Banyan Gold being underappreciated, and what sort of the catalyst you think that can re-rate your stock this year?
Sure. Well, I think, we're seeing that across the sector, from the majors, where there just really isn't a lot of retail interest. And the gold price is high. Gold companies are making money. There was some inflation. So I think people are wondering, well, how much money are they actually making? And that's part of the issue is, often it's the big companies that re-rate first, but the smaller companies that have a larger re-rate potential. Catalysts that we have will be our program, but quite honestly, the resource that we put out, the metallurgy, as that gets disseminated out to the market and communicated, as analysts start to look at it and say, hey, look what this project is, I think that itself is going to continue to be a catalyst for us going through the spring and into the summer, in addition to the work that we are continuing to do to de-risk it, to increase those recoveries, to show that this is an economic project, and, drilling off more ounces or higher grade ounces. So I think it's going to be a great year for Banyan. We are in a great spot. When you look at our peers, we're currently valued between $8 and $11 per ounce. Peers that have similar projects at this development level are 33 to 70. So, even at this base level is a great place for investors to start looking at projects and pick quality projects with good management team that have demonstrated track record of spending money well and adding value to a project. And I think, if investors are looking at the gold space, that's what they need to do. And I believe that Banyan's definitely in that sweet spot.
Really, that's some good insights there for the investors. Thank you for your time here today, for sharing your story update with us, Tara.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
You too.